Right now, Martin Ødegaard is playing as one of the best midfielders in the world, consistently for Arsenal. After yet another man-of-the-match performance against Sheffield United, Martin Ødegaard's new role has single-handedly changed the complexion of Arsenal this season. But how was Martin Ødegaard so dominant in this game? Well, let's have a look. I, for one, have done a lot of videos on Martin Ødegaard, but going into the Sheffield United game or coming from it, I wanted to do a performance piece on basically the best player in the game. Now, there's a lot of people to choose from, but I thought I can't not talk about how good Martin Ødegaard was. And now, if you want to see a complete midfielder performance or a complete midfielder generally, you've got to not look very much further than Martin Ødegaard. I think in this game, he really was good again. Realistically, it's probably the big reason we actually won 6-0 in the first place. Without him, I don't know if that performance or at least them goals are happening, despite obviously us playing a very weak side. He's got a very unique way of playing football. He's very elegant on the ball, but he's often very good at spatial awareness and picking up positions around the box. But he's also shown that he can do the defensive work and grind out tackles if he needs to. There is not something that he really struggles at. His off the ball is brilliant, his on the ball is brilliant, his timing's brilliant, and sometimes the passes he do actually just blow me away. Considering Arsenal themselves have had so many great creative midfielders in their time and over the last 20 years, I think Martin Ødegaard's right there was one of the best ever, despite obviously playing in a brilliant system. We have seen him go a bit more defensive in other games, such as against West Ham to pick up the ball, or against Burnley to try and make Burnley revolt back into their normal pressing system, so they would kind of leave off the Arsenal defence. Now, Sheffield did neither of this. They kind of just sat there and wanted Arsenal to go through them. They had a midfield 5, or sometimes it was a 4 with a 2-striker system, and often one Arsenal pass often made them go through both the midfield and the attack, leaving a 4-on-4 or a 5-on-4 to Arsenal's favour against the defenders. Now, this is something that Ødegaard picked up clearly and tried to find that half space between the midfield and defence often in the game, and he would often help the team creating that 5 players up front on the press against the 4. This means Ødegaard mostly didn't really defend in this game because he often played quite high, because Sheffield obviously were letting him and didn't really want any of the ball, with Arsenal having around 80% possession in the first half. I also liked in this game how there was a lot of times where Ødegaard wouldn't exactly go straight to the ball. Often he's the person at the edge of the box wanting to create and wanting to have the ball, but with someone like Jorginho, this is the perfect example of why. Jorginho and Rice moved everywhere outside the box and could often pick up the ball in great positions. This means that you could often have runners like Saka and Martinelli, and one of them would be in space because the defenders wouldn't be able to keep up. This also meant Ødegaard could come narrower to Jorginho and help him if he needed to, but Jorginho could also be the guy that passes it through, with Ødegaard also almost acting like a dummy in this circumstances. And Ødegaard is usually the main reason why Arsenal are very fluid, and they were in this game because of him. There's so many times where he's picking up the ball in different positions, even deciding when to come narrow or to stay on the last defenders and be a lot further away. He also demands a lot of players' respect and wants them to move into positions he asks for. This is what a real captain does. Now, Ben White in this game was naturally very high up the pitch. He sort of inverted, but also played very high with Ødegaard, sort of having both of them there in the midfield. Now, against a good team, you wouldn't do this because they will often have an easy break against you, but Sheffield were useless, so this was quite easy to do against them, and this was very much important because it left more players there in the positions where they could get the ball, and Ødegaard often demanded Ben White to stay or come with him when he wanted to. Now, the one thing you don't really want to do with Arsenal right now is let them get players forward and not really show many attacking threats, because this is exactly what Sheffield did. They let Arsenal press them very greatly and let Arsenal sort of pen them back in their own box, which is exactly what Arsenal want to do. When Arsenal get you in these positions, they know that they can have dictators and run around where they want. This is why you see people like Rice, Ben White, Kiwior just messing around, getting inside the box, making runs and causing a nuisance. This often allows Arsenal to have 6 or 7 players actually in that attacking line, overmanning the Sheffield defence or anyone in that matter, and being able to make runs. Now, Martin Ødegaard is very smart. He knows where to stand, knows where to get in the right positions, and for this goal, this was the exact moment. Declan Rice is also amazing in this game and kept making these runs as well, and him and Kiwior overlapping for Martinelli gave him some real help, and with the first goal, this is exactly what happened, where Rice inverts, gets into a great position, and there's people tracking all the runners, and Ødegaard has that brilliant pace to get into the box, beat his marker to the ball, and has a tap in because Havertz ends up leaving it for him and the ball bounces to him just inside that box. It's brilliant initiative to even make them runs. There's so many great creative midfielders that you would never see make them runs into midfield or into the attacking line. He identifies that Havertz is moving into a different position, giving up a space at the back post or behind behind him. And this often acted like the double striker formation that Arsenal use when Trossard plays up front with Trossard and Havertz, when Ødegaard almost plays a false 9 in these situations. And now we spoke about his role and how he comes into deeper positions to pick the ball up to help Arsenal kick the ball out of their box in their half, and I think that was the perfect example with the third goal Arsenal score. Now Martin Ødegaard is often deeper trying to help the ball. We give it to Raya, it's a bit of a mess. Raya doesn't actually do a great pass, but it somehow gets to our players. And with the natural positions that everyone's in, because Jorginho and Rice are covering the two midfielders and the two attacking players for Sheffield, Ødegaard doesn't need to be as deep as he would have to be without Jorginho. He kind of stays in a bit of a mid-range role, but he definitely is coming back and still helping just in case another player wants to run in. Now the ball breaks to Arsenal down the right side, and the fact that Ødegaard realises this so early that he runs into that space, the other players go to cover Havertz and Saka having a 3-on-2 in that position. Ødegaard knows if he goes into midfield he's going to have a lot of space, and it's that simple break we've always done where the ball comes to him. He has the overlapping options of Martinelli and Kivior, and it's literally a 1-2 and it goes in. A very similar goal to the fourth goal he scored against Burnley where he did the same thing. And the system of getting Ødegaard to overload the midfield in different positions is working everywhere on the pitch. Wherever he needs to be, he overloads it and Arsenal get out or get a good chance to score. But there was so many times in this game where Martin Ødegaard proved that he's got a telepathic connection to Declan Rice right now. The passes that them two were doing was so well, and I thought Declan Rice was everywhere in this game. So many little 1-2s between them everywhere on the pitch. It'd be left side, right side, middle, it'd be everywhere, and it was so great every single time. And as much as things did slow down when Sheffield went to a 5 defence, it didn't really matter because Ødegaard, brilliant positioning, gets past 2 or 3 players over and over again and has that brilliant, elegant pass, being able to put people through every single time. There was also so many times where he came deeper with Jorginho, and one of them would often do a ball over the top for Havertz. This worked in the second half a lot, but it was very much good changing up every single time, and Declan Rice was often the runner going into the box in different positions. Now, of course, the whole midfield deserves credit, but Martin Ødegaard is the one that makes it all click, and he is the captain, the leader of everything that Arsenal do. Without him, we are not the same, and he is a real special player. Right now, one of the best in the world, no doubt. To put it in perspective, in this game, he had a 0.9 XG plus X assists, so this means that he was guaranteed 0.9, 90% of this game to actually get a goal or assist on the board, and he got obviously 1 goal. He also did a fabulous 115 touches and also did 10 touches in the opposition box, but the biggest stat of all of it was 9 passes into the final third, which is absolutely amazing. He was everywhere in that midfield and actually didn't defend much because he didn't have to. Obviously Sheffield were poor, he did 0 tackles and 0 defensive actions, but the help of Jorginho being there and Jorginho being so compact to him, I think helps them both, because Ødegaard another technical ability option in there, while allowing Jorginho also to take up some of the key passes and passes into the final third, or Ødegaard can pick up the ball in different positions and doesn't have to be so deep at all time. And this game, as much as Arsenal we knew were a better team as Sheffield, I think proves that this could be the best system they've played. They've not done that midfield against a team like Sheffield, a team that don't want the ball, and it could just be the best option for Arsenal right now, despite obviously people coming back from injuries such as Thomas Partey and Gabriel Jesus saw in this game. I much prefer the Havertz and Jorginho midfield system. But let me know what you guys think about the system, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and please watch my video where I go through my overall reaction of the game. Now, thank you for watching. I appreciate your view as always. See you in the next one.